Evacuations out of Afghanistan resumed on Friday, one day after 13 U.S. service members and at least 170 Afghans were killed in an attack in Kabul. Despite the threat of more terror attacks, the White House said 12,500 people were evacuated over a 24-hour period. That brings the total number of American personnel, Afghan allies, and foreign nationals evacuated from Afghanistan to at least 111,000. But with just days to go until the August 31st withdrawal deadline, thousands are still desperate to flee Afghanistan and Taliban rule. For more, I'm joined by Republican Congressman Michael McCaul. He represents the 10th District in Texas and is ranking member on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Great to have you with us, Congressman. You've been very critical of President Biden's decision to pull troops out of Afghanistan by August 31st. How long would you like to see U.S. service members remain in Kabul, given Thursday's suicide bombing and the threat of further attacks?
Well, until we can get every American out of Afghanistan. I think that's the issue here. We're going to leave behind the Afghan interpreters, our partners. Unfortunately, their fate, I think, is sealed. They will most likely be executed. And this didn't have to happen. And that's my point all along. I have been critical because while the decision was made, it had to be done right. And Ambassador Crocker and I wrote a New York Times op-ed advising the administration exactly how to proceed. And that was, and Crocker was an ambassador to Afghanistan under Obama. And that was to give time to evacuate all American citizens, our Afghan partner interpreters, and have an intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance mission near Afghanistan. None of that was done. And now we're waiting until the 11th hour, and ISIS-K is in there, which is a huge, very huge terror threat to Kabul and the airport. Then the whole thing is just so sad and unfortunate. My heart goes out to the 13 military servicemen's families who have to suffer through this.
Certainly a great tragedy. I want to clarify what you said. You want to make sure that we are there until every last American citizen is out. But did I hear you correctly that you felt like it would not be possible for us to maintain the commitments that we made to our Afghan allies, interpreters, and others who supported the work of our troops over there for so many years?
That's correct. I mean, 5 days is not adequate time to get them out. Our NATO allies tell us 5 days is not enough time to get every American NATO ally out of Afghanistan. We should have been better prepared for this. We were not. Now it's chaos at the airport with a huge terror threat looming, which is real. I would, and after the 31st, we're at the mercy of the Taliban in terms of how can we get all the Americans out. Right now, General McKenzie at CENTCOM has told us that they are using joint special operations forces to go in and get Americans and get them to the airport because the land of the airport is effectively shut. The gates are not open right now, and the only way we can get them out is by rescuing them with our special operators, getting them to the airport. The American citizens, by and large, the Taliban would let through their perimeter. But when it comes to our Afghan partners and the interpreters, who we promised we would protect them and get them out at the end of the day, who were brothers to our special forces, putting their lives on the line, unfortunately, we did not live up to that commitment. No one left behind, and they will most likely be slaughtered by the Taliban.
Based on the information that you've received, Congressman, do you think it's possible to evacuate all American personnel by that August 31st deadline? I know you were talking about advocating for the use of special ops to go in there. Do you think that that can be done in time? And if not, would you support extending the deadline?
I think we should stay there as long as it takes to get every American out. I've advocated, but it's also happening. General McKenzie, our JSOC command, are in Afghanistan rescuing Americans by air, getting them to the airport to get them safely out of country. And so, again, that's happening as I speak because the gates of the airport are shut. What I've been pleading for since May is to get these interpreters out. If you talk to any special forces veteran or active duty, these interpreters were their right-hand persons. I mean, they knew the terrain, they knew the enemy, they helped them. When the Taliban looks at them, they look at Americans, they're going to let us through. They look at these partners, interpreters, and they look at them as basically the infidel. They look at them as the ones who betrayed their country and worked with the United States, the infidel. That's why I say they have a target on their back. And trust me, the Taliban will not treat them kindly when we leave them behind.
Congressman McCaul, a number of your Republican colleagues have called for an investigation into the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Some have even called for President Biden to resign or be impeached. Where do you land on all of this? And how do you answer Democrats who say that part of the blame is with the last Republican administration?
Well, I mean, they seem to be blaming everyone, like the Afghans, to our intelligence community, who, by the way, got this right, to the DOD. This was the president's decision. He owns it. That February agreement was conditions-based. I've talked to Secretary Pompeo. When they violated the conditions, we struck them and hit them back. National Security Advisor O'Brien told me that when laid out the case of a complete withdrawal, that he would never allow a Saigon on his hands. I just can't see an unconditional surrender being allowed by the prior administration. But I think more importantly is how we move forward now. And I think we have to treat this as a counterterrorism mission with an intelligence capability nearby to see threats within and stop them. And remember, with this ISR capability taken down, we can't see Russia, China, and Iran either. So this is a very big national security problem, I think, moving forward for the United States. Look, my goal is to get every American out by the 31st. We'll have plenty of time to let the dust settle, to figure out, what happened, how this gets so bad, and deal with those issues. I don't think it's the right time to be political with this. I think actually a lot of Democrats have joined us in our efforts to criticize, but also help get these Americans out. And that's what we ought to be focused on right now.
Congressman Michael McCaul, thank you.